And now, the general weather around Alaska.
Welcome to Alaska Weather. I'm meteorologist Peter Chan coming to you from the National Weather Service in Alaska region on this Tuesday, July 2nd, 2024. And if you'd like additional weather information on top of what I give you in this YouTube video, you can go to weather.gov. That is the National Weather Service's online presence. It'll bring you to a map of the continental U.S. on the website with Hawaii and Alaska to the lower left, as well as tabs for the various territories on the bottom. And a quick check of the weather map on this Tuesday afternoon leading up into the 4th of July holiday. We have extensive heat here, south central U.S. down along the lower Mississippi Valley, southern plains. We're anticipating air temperatures in the 90s to around 100 degrees, and then you factor in, it feels like with the humidity, you get those heat index temperatures well above 100 degrees, even tornado watch here and through Iowa, far northern Missouri, along with the potential not just of severe weather, including isolated tornadoes, but heavy rainfall that could lead to some flooding. And then out to the west, we have various heat advisories, extreme heat watches as the heat will be building out through this region as we go through the 4th of July. In Alaska, though, red flag warnings for high fire danger remain in effect for the central eastern interior, including the Yukon Flats until midnight tonight. There's the potential for some isolated to scattered thunderstorms. Lightning strikes could cause new fire starts given the very warm temperatures in the 70s to near 80 degrees, along with dry conditions, with the exception of, though, where some of those thunderstorms do pop up. We have two active notable fires in the state. The Riley Creek fire just outside there, the entrance of Denali Park, which has caused a lot of problems. It's closed down the park, threatened some of the communities around there. The good news is with that, firefighting crews and air support, they've been able to keep that fire away from any structures, and it looks like at least it's becoming more contained. The Globe fire, the Grapefruit Complex, is there northwest of Fairbanks toward Minto, and that's these two are the biggest fires in the state. But the good news is we have a much cooler and wetter pattern that's going to develop over the 4th of July and continue into the weekend. This is going to really reduce the fire threat, not only new starts, but also existing fires that are ongoing. This is going to help to dampen them down. But we still have to get by, though, a breezier period before those rains arrive here as we go through tomorrow early on Thursday. The Chilkat River in the northern panhandle still is experiencing some minor snowmelt flooding. That'll continue into Wednesday, though it looks like the peak crest came the other day on Monday. So looking at a few of the FAA webcams from around the state. Fairbanks, we have some cumulus clouds popped up with smoky haze, 73 degrees, but the smoke is much better, at least visibility and air quality, compared to what it was a week ago and over the weekend. Some very, very poor air quality as a result of all that wildfire smoke. You still see that smoky haze there looking east of central across the Yukon Flats, a few cumulus clouds kind of veiled by that smoke. Temperature also at 73 degrees. And as we go through the late afternoon, temperatures in a few areas will be back up near 80 degrees. On the other side of the state, Nome, rain and low clouds, and that's kind of a harbinger of things to come. There's going to be quite a push of moisture, a moisture-laden air mass coming in off the Bering Sea and then spreading up through the interior as we go through this mid and late week. So the rains there will be increasing across the Seward Peninsula and the west central interior as we go through this time frame into the day tomorrow. Edna Bay in the western part of the Panhandle enjoying mostly sunny skies, 58 to near 60 degrees. A little further east, Petersburg and Wrangell have seen some scattered light showers today with temperatures mainly holding in the 50s. Certainly a little cooler weather there across the Panhandle compared to what was happening the previous couple of weeks. But here we still have the red flag warning for enhanced fire weather threat there until midnight tonight. The area in blue represents a special weather statement for this pattern change that is coming up. We're going to have a series of systems pushing moisture across from the Bering Sea out across the west side of the state and then inland across the interior, bringing wetting rains and much cooler temperatures. And this is going to be a gradual process. This is all going to be kind of advancing eastward as we go through the next couple of days, but definitely will be a noted change coming up before long. And then here in the northern panhandle, up near Haines, here we have the Chilkat River running high because of snowmelt runoff. The warmest temperatures that we saw here a number of days ago, enhancing that snowmelt runoff, especially during the daytime, and then you get up toward midnight or so, the water levels peak and then they come down again in the morning and then go back up in the evening as a result of that daytime snowmelt. And looking at an image here from Riley Creek fire that's just outside there of Denali Park, we have a firefighting helicopter dropping a bucket of water there on some of the flames. That was image was taken by the National Park Service yesterday afternoon. And at least the good news is conditions, at least for the fire weather situation, will be improving with the wetter weather. The only thing we have to get by, though, is the potential for some wind ahead of the rain. So we are going to see wetter weather on the horizon for the interior this week, but strong southwest winds could contribute to rapid fire growth before these rains, these wetting rains arrive. And by late on the 4th of July, later Thursday, most parts of the interior will experience some much cooler temperatures and wetter weather. And this wet weather will continue into the weekend for much of the mainland. This will help dampen fuels and slow fires. However, in order to really knock out the fire season, still several inches of rain are required. That would help to stop burning fires that have the kind of the rooting there deep underground fuels. So at least the good news is we're going to get a reprieve from the very high to extreme fire danger that the interior was experiencing over the past couple of weeks through much of the month of June. So the outlook for fire danger, the spruce adjective here, is looking at still very high fire danger yet on Wednesday in the Yukon Flats. One of the problems is you're going to have southwesterly winds ahead of a cold front that's sinking southeastward. So that could fan the flames before the wetting rains arrive, especially Thursday into Thursday night in that area. But here is the precipitation forecast during the day on Wednesday. That's tomorrow. We find along this front some pretty good areas of rain in excess of at least approaching or just over an inch of rainfall along areas of the Brooks Range and there southward near Kotzebue, eastward toward Bettles. This area is really going to get soaked, and then as we go into the day on Thursday, the 4th of July, that front sags a little further south, and then there's another impulse of moisture coming in off the Bering Sea. It's going to get areas of the southwest. Everybody's going to get in on the rain here between tomorrow and especially over the weekend. So the southern areas like Anchorage, down here toward the upper portion of the Alaska Peninsula, you're going to see better rainfall here as we go into Friday and Saturday. But the areas to the north across the interior, the western, central interior, and eventually eastern interior will all get into these rains as that moisture works its way eastward and inland. So looking at the satellite imagery, we can see hints of that front right up here. There's a low pressure up in the Arctic Ocean. The front comes down like this. It's helping to funnel moisture in along it. So areas of the North Slope up here through Norton Sound, or I should say Kotzebue Sound, lower Chukchi Sea getting in on rain, Brooks Range here, the western central North Slope. There's another area of weak or low pressure well south of Kodiak Island, and then we have more areas of moisture that are going to be streaming northeastward. In this pattern, this flow of moisture will continue into the weekend, bringing it right on up into the interior, which is very good news as far as when it comes to reducing the fire threat. And here on the weather map, so we can see the cold front up here this afternoon, pushing its way across the Chukchi Sea and into the Bering Strait. We have a thermal trough that extends in through northwest Canada with a few thunderstorms firing up along that, still along areas of the Yukon Flats going into this evening. We have a little ridge of high pressure nudging up into the eastern Gulf, but still there are some scattered light showers in areas of the Panhandle this afternoon and evening. And this week, low pressure, as I said, well south of Kodiak Island, but there's a push of warmer, moist air coming in across the Aleutians, and that's going to work its way northeastward up into the mainland. So later tonight, we have that front kind of losing some of its punch. It's not that strong of a cold front, but it does have cooler air behind it, and it's allowing for that moisture feed to come in off the Bering Sea. This low just kind of sits and spins south of the Gulf in the North Pacific. It won't be a major player. And then as we get into Wednesday, the front advances a little further southeastward. It's just going to be that boundary that once it sags into your location, temperatures are really going to cool. It's going to be a focus ahead of and along and behind for the rains. And then you get this other moisture coming on in as we go through Wednesday afternoon and then into Thursday. We just have that flow of moisture coming in all the way from the North Pacific across the eastern central Aleutians up into the southwest western coastline and then pushing inland. So all through these areas we are going to see, if not steady rains, certainly showers. And so it's going to be a wet one here as we go through the long holiday weekend. Looking at temperatures, lows tonight generally around or just above 50 across the Panhandle. Same thing there, Talkeetna, Glen Allen, as well as around the Anchorage Bowl. Upper 40s along the immediate coastline. Daytime highs should be a little warmer in the Panhandle for Wednesday, getting back up into the 60s. If you can get full sun for the day in a couple of spots, you might flirt upper 60s near 70. 74 Glen Allen, 64 around Anchorage. Other side of the Alaska Range, McGrath there at 67. So there is still some milder temperatures, though not as warm as what they were last week and the week before. And for Thursday morning, lows generally at or above 50 in the Panhandle, upper 40s to lower 50s south central. And then daytime highs, if you can get any sun, 72 there around Glen Allen, Galkana, but around 60, just above that for the Anchorage area, Talkeetna for the 4th of July, and back across the Panhandle, temperatures get up into the 60s, so it'll be pleasant, not overly hot. And across the north, we're going to see a trend toward cooler temperatures. So lows quite mild as we expect this time of year, above 50, in the 50s here along the Yukon River, Tanana Rivers, 58 or so there at Fairbanks. Coolest readings along the northwest coast, Utqiagvik down toward Point Hope could see lows in the upper 30s, and then daytime highs. Instead of 70s to near 80, we start to cool down into the 60s for highs. Still could be some 70-degree readings. Eagle, Northway on over toward Tok. Otherwise to the west, notice 40s here along the west coast, Chukchi Sea coastline, western Seward Peninsula. And then temperatures, again, lows generally above 50 along the Yukon River, Tanana Rivers as we go through Thursday morning. Little cooler. Starting to see some mid-upper 30s along the northwest coast. It's not going to be a major cool down, but definitely cooler without the sunshine, thick cloud cover, rain overspreading this area, daytime highs 50s to lower 60s at best. So you'll definitely feel that, as I said, compared to 70s and even some 80-degree readings that we were seeing last week. And then across the southwest interior in the 40s to even near 50 degrees heading up the Kuskokwim River. And then going down along the Aleutian chain, lows generally in the mid-40s. High temperatures Wednesday afternoon, enjoy, like I said, McGrath 67. Still up in the lower 60s around Bethel and Anvik and as we look down along the Alaska Peninsula, 50s to near 60, all the way trailing down to about Cold Bay, and then generally in the lower 50s or so around Dutch Harbor. For Thursday morning, lows in the 40s to near 50 degrees across the southwest interior, mid-upper 40s along the Alaska Peninsula and the Aleutians, and then daytime highs also cooling only in the 50s at best. So it'll be a cooler, cloudy, steadier type rain at times, and lower ceilings with the cloud cover with some fog. So definitely west and north side of the Alaska Range going to see soaking rains here as we go through the holiday, and those could continue into the weekend. And here's the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook, like the switch flipped once we get into July. Not the warm and drier weather that was much of June. We do expect the coolest temperatures, below normal temperatures along the west side of the mainland, and even in through the eastern mainland along the Alcan border, in through the Panhandle. Temperatures are expected to trend below normal, and precipitation overall will average above normal across the state, most predominantly around, along, and north of the Alaska Range, all the way on up through the Yukon Valley and up to the Arctic coast. Also parts of the northern Panhandle could see precipitation average a little more than above normal, say, as opposed to areas along the immediate Gulf Coast.